Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers podcast, a podcast where we discuss our thoughts on gaming news. I am Angelus de Mortiel, together with the not muted Kev the Gamer.
Glorious!
Oh damn it! I should have quickly muted him just to keep things on par, as reasons. And Xaiphen is also here.
We're not live yet, are we? Are we live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
We're live,
Morty
and
has
also
no camera.
and my camera decided it didn't want to show up to work today, so
I see that.
hi everyone, I'm not here. Ah.
That's
It's
okay, they
off
have
with
me.
Death Shroud.
Oh gosh.
They have me. I'm glorious enough.
Yeah, exactly. So this has definitely been an interesting week. Kev has been prattling on nonstop about Battlefield 1. So while I'm fixing my camera, Kev, why don't you discuss your thoughts?
I don't think I've said much about Battlefield 1 in the chat.
Maybe it was someone else.
Yeah, no, it's glorious. I'm enjoying Battlefield 1.
Uh-huh.
I think Battlefield 4, at least as of right now, I think Battlefield 4 was better game.
Mm-hmm.
But Battlefield 1 works amazingly, at least on PC. I haven't played it on console. It runs amazingly. It looks great. It's fun. It's more of a skill shooter than I think Battlefield 3 or 4 were.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like, well, until you get to the tanks. Because there's some tanks and some of the snipers are a little cheese. Because there's a lot of one-shot snipers where they can shoot you in the body and you die.
That's
But yeah.
Isn't that how a sniper's supposed to work?
Generally it doesn't work like that in games though. Generally you only get a one-shot headshot.
Yeah, the thing is from what I know, usually when you get shot, you die. So
yeah, but if that's the case, then you can get one-shot kills with your pistol.
Exactly. That's
But
real
you can do
life
that
right
in Battlefield
there.
1.
Yeah, that's
Right, but not Battlefield 1.
Yeah, I know. I'm being a smartass.
I know.
But that was like that was like Modern Warfare 3 though, with the Barrett 50 cal, right?
I didn't play Modern Warfare 3. I don't know.
Oh no, the Barrett 50 that would one-shot people. It was
in the foot.
The Deagle. Oh well, yeah.
Oh,
that
that
was
was
like
Infinite Warfare.
the Desert Eagle would take 2 headshots to take somebody down. Like, really? Are you kidding me? That wasn't like headshot to a Kevlar. That was headshot to a face.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, you
2.
can get toe shot in some of these COD games and get one-shot kills. Especially like Black Ops 2 with those snipers. Get shot in the dick, die.
Hey,
Well,
you know what?
Yeah, real life with a 50 caliber sniper weapon, like it comes close to you, it's taking skin off, especially at the ranges in those games. You shoot somebody in the leg, their leg is just gone.
Yeah,
it's not a matter of like, oh, I got a bullet hole in there. No, it ripped it off. 50 cal is a ridiculous munition.
The actual velocity, the exit velocity of the barrel is so high, the wind shear created actually is the most damaging part of the bullet. If it encounters tough enough resistance, obviously then that comes in. Kev being hipster and replying to someone on YouTube from Twitch. Good job, Kev.
I would.
But yeah, so
I'm just watching on from Twitch right now.
Yeah,
I check the screen, make sure it works right.
That's true.
Watch the chat.
Fair
Interact
enough.
with the people.
Yeah, unified chat advantage.
But yeah, so why don't you tell us something? Give us something that's negative that you don't like about. You said the tanks, right? You weren't a big fan of the tanks.
No, I'm not. It's not that I think the vehicles are a little. You have to take them down as a team, which is okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not used to them yet. Like they literally hit like tanks, which I guess is kind of a thing.
I've been hearing that
it hits like a tank.
Well, I've been hearing a lot of.
I'm mad that they
things.
kill me. I'm mad that they kill me while I'm shooting someone else. Basically,
I've heard
I'm shooting another infantry guy and get shot by a tank.
Their maneuverability is a little bit too good for a World War I tank, though.
Oh
yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, they feel like they're too good.
Yeah, like they essentially, someone was saying that they maneuver like World War II tanks, can turn on dimes and stuff like that. When the World War I tanks, that was really new tech then. That was not something that had been around for a while. So there was still some mechanical issues with tanks.
The thing is even World War II, unless it was the German Panzer, I think, if I
the
remember right.
The Panzer and the T-60, I believe. Were both
The T60 came later. The
it?
US T60.
Oh yeah, you're right, because that was like
Yeah,
that
the
was
US
like
T60
Vietnam,
was
I think.
no, Korean War. Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with U.S. Army tanks.
just a little bit.
That was only my job for a while, but
Yeah.
yeah, and even the Panzer. I mean, it's still World War II. The Panzer was impressive for its era, but it was still sluggish as shit.
And that was World War II. The ones
Exactly.
in World War One were like they were like honestly it was a lot like they did
There
good
was a
for
reason why horses were still used in World
yeah
War One.
Oh,
yeah
we still have horses in Battlefield 1, and
yeah
them horses are like fucking tanks. You have to empty like 3 clips out on the horse,
what the
or just shoot
fuck
or just shoot the rider. The clue is shoot the rider.
yeah
Don't
like
shoot the horse.
because you
Yeah.
can one shot the rider but the horse takes like five gazillion
And
bullets.
that's
They 5 clips, yeah.
I haven't played
So don't
BF1.
shoot the horse.
I've only seen limited
Unless you got
videos.
the shotgun. I unlocked the shotgun last night with the assault class. The engineers are now called assault. And ooh, I love that shotgun.
Now
That shotgun, if you get them within like 5-6 feet of you, they're done. You don't even have to look at them. It's like playing Gears.
video game shotguns.
yeah, video game shotguns and the complete unrealistic ballistics of them because apparently a shotgun only has a range of like 10 feet at maximum, according to video games.
It's only if you're scoped in.
They're only just scoped in, like. But forget about it if they're like I don't know like 15 meters away, or hell, what if you use a slug? Well, in Battlefield 3 and 4, I think they did have slugs for shotguns.
They did.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
to be fair, they did throw that in.
Military grade shotguns use rifled slugs. You got pretty decent accurate at 100 meters. With the Mossberg 500. Well, that's looking at more modern, but shotgun tech hasn't really changed a lot in several decades.
Not since like the late early 1900s. Honestly, it's been pretty much the same. Like that's the cartridge-based shell system. Like was. Yeah.
Well, the most you got is the repeated loading. Go from lever action to pump action to auto loading. That's about it. But everything else, hasn't changed.
The AA-12. Oh yeah. FPS Rush's video on that is the greatest when he's just like sitting there firing it, takes his one hand off of it, and is still firing it, turns and just looks at the camera like, what?
I'd say he's holding it sideways. He was firing it like this with little effort. He's like, oh, look at this shotgun. It has such huge recoil in a video game. This is it in real life.
Yeah, like the AA-12 is a ridiculous shotgun, and I don't know. I imagine it probably violates all sorts of laws for being too fucking awesome somewhere. Anyway, so any other games this week, guys?
Gears.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I'm still playing Gears. Loving Gears, especially now that I figure out how to find multiplayer matches.
So you were saying something about some really scared little punk dude that was avoiding playing Gears with you.
Oh, Nicodemus.
Yeah, I'm just
Nick, quit ducking me, bro. He talked about he gonna carry me in Horde. I'm like, come on, because he finally got an Xbox One. He didn't buy a PC. He got an Xbox One. So I was like, all right.
He could have it on both, though, right?
You can do crossplay.
Isn't it play anywhere, right?
It's crossplay, but not for the competitive multiplayer. But it is for Horde and campaign.
No, I was saying like it's play anywhere. Like he bought it on Xbox One, doesn't he get it on PC too?
Yeah, if you have a rig that can run it, like you actually need a gaming rig to run it.
So what he's saying is that he's got a potato.
He has a Mac.
Potato.
Oh, he has a Mac. Never mind.
Well, I mean, same thing.
So he doesn't have a potato. He's got an apple. So now we're comparing fruits to veggies.
That's exactly it. It's the same quality there. Yeah. So I guess Paragon likes Battlefield 1. I'll be honest with you. Not gonna play it. I honestly. Like I've grown out of my phase of virus, whatever, of playing the kind of more arcadey shooters. I'm just not really down for it anymore. Like as far as if
He says that, but we still haven't gotten him on Siege.
Yeah, but the thing is that I need a game that I can latch onto at launch in something like Siege. Like I kind of missed the boat on that, and now pretty much me trying to get into it is going to be me dying and getting yelled at repeatedly, and I'm not really down for that.
That's why you're learning casual.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe we get some multiplayer with like Ghost Recon Wildlands, or something like that, where we get like something akin to Ghost Recon Phantoms, because I loved the way they did that game, but it has nobody fucking playing it. So apparently that shows just how popular actual team-based shooters are. Nobody wants to play as a team.
I would say to counter that, remember Counter-Strike is still one of the most popular shooters in the world. Team-based shooter.
Yeah, but that's not really team-based. That's an arcade shooter again. That's just like Battlefield, just like Call of Duty.
That's the thing is like Ghost Recon Phantoms, you needed to work with your team. There was no like, oh, this guy's good at taking points, so we're gonna have him take a point because he can shoot a whole bunch of people really well. Like, no, that's not how that works at all. You've got to run an actual team tactics. You can't even run solo tactics. Like, oh, I'm going to run some stealth shit and flank these guys. Like, if you don't have your team working with you flanking, you're going down and it's doing nothing for the team.
Yep, and that's.
So I was going to mention Overwatch also, but yeah, Overwatch isn't like that. Siege is like that.
Yeah, Siege is also like that.
If you're not communicating, you're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, like
that's Rainbow Six, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still Tom Clancy.
Exactly. So there you go.
The thing, that's why I was saying I hope maybe Wildlands. Of course, if Wildlands doesn't come out and turn out to be shit, because Ubisoft didn't fuck everybody. But no, the thing is that I actually kind of went on a little rant earlier because someone was talking about how like essentially they're how team based Overwatch is, and I was like, to be honest with you, if you get friends together and run as a team, yeah, it is. That's just like Call of Duty. If we get a full squad in Call of Duty and we're calling shit out and working as a team, yeah, it's team based then. Otherwise, no. Overwatch really the game is designed to be team based, but you
have two people who solo queue.
Yeah, like and they just want to play DPS all day because that's the glorious role. That's the one that gets all the gold medals. And nobody really wants
not
to
if you're me.
Support.
I rarely touch DPS because I don't have that capability. I mean, there's a lack of skill, and playing on a controller on top of that, that's not going to work out well for me or anyone else.
Yeah.
You just play Mercy. You play Mercy and sit in the corner.
Well,
or trash.
No, listen. Like, so last night, Morella and I got some pharmacy action going on. That was fucking glorious. Flying around Farah with Mercy and just pocket healing / boosting her while she just wrecks house. It's great.
I don't think I've met Merelda. I don't know. The name doesn't sound familiar.
She plays on our Discord. Yeah.
She's the new girl in the Discord?
Not new.
Every time I hop into the channel,
she's been there for a while now. But in any case, though, so essentially where I point out the difference between Phantoms and we'll get moving on after this, but was with Phantoms to Overwatch is Overwatch does have team synergy in there. It's not like you're playing Call of Duty where every class is its own army. You're a one-man army. You just so happen to be next to other one-man armies. I'm a one-man wolf pack, and now we're 2 one-man wolf packs. But
I get what you're saying about you want some more teamwork is required. And actually I kind of agree with that.
Not necessarily required, but strongly encouraged. Right? Like, one of the ways that Phantoms did it is so, like, and it fit with the mythos of the kind of future soldiery type thing that Phantoms did, was you had, like, your HUD. Included in your HUD was all kinds of tactical information, including these little lines. There's a dot on your character and then a line that would connect you to your teammates. So you had this constant spatial awareness of where your team members were at all times. Which
that would be great. And there are games like Gears has that, where you just hit that left bumper.
Well, no, this was
problem.
it fits with that game, not with all games though.
Right. I get you. I think the bigger problem is not the games not offering you like things for team play. Battlefield does that really well. But it has more to do with the fact that everyone wants to be a one-man army. They want to be in their Discords. They want to be in their Xbox, PlayStation party chats. Nobody game chats anymore. Nobody wants to be on a team anymore.
Yeah.
You know, there's no more trash talking in multiplayer anymore because everybody's in a goddamn party.
So can we, before we get on to our first story on here, sidetrack for a moment and kind of, do you guys think that that's because of like how toxic a lot of those competitive games have gotten? Like,
Yes.
you think that's why people just kind of like retreat to their own little pockets of communication?
Yeah, because people are pussy.
they get triggered and offended too easily.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
No, it's just that was just something that I thought of, like, whenever I'm like, as I'm thinking about it, that would be a reason
It's
why.
Facebook coddling syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of feel like that would be a reason why you would get these people that can't handle. I don't know. Anyway, let's just get moving on. So, our first story today is wondrous in the sense of comedy, because reasons. So the Nintendo Switch got announced. That was the Project NX that we had heard about for a long time, and now it finally got announced. Yeah, and now it finally got announced. It's actually called the Nintendo Switch. And it got announced to really mixed reception. In fact, leading up to their announcement, when they confirmed that they were going to announce something today, hey, their stock prices went up. The moment the announcement came out, their stock prices went back down. So that should tell you a lot there.
Like, look, Nintendo's got something new. Oh, it's that.
Yeah. So the console.
I actually like the Switch conceptually.
Yeah.
I just think the problem is people want a traditional console from Nintendo, and Nintendo's refusing to do it.
Well,
they've been asking for one for a few years now.
Yeah, the thing is obviously they're playing to their strengths, right? What is Nintendo's real dominant force? It's portable games.
Can play on a potato?
No, it's the portable market, right? Nintendo DS, right? Just runs portable. There's nobody
specific.
Yeah.
The term I coined with it is mobile console, because mobile in general, smartphones have a dominance, and when you use the term portable, you can also include gaming laptops into that. But mobile console is what I've started labeling as, because it's a console style gaming environment, but it is mobile, battery powered. You can carry it as you game.
Yeah,
dating all the way back to Game Boy.
Well, and I mean, and you get some, like, honestly, I had the original DS, the first one that came out, and I had like a few games on there that definitely killed some hours for me. Like, what was it? I wasn't a big fan of the kiddie style animation for Zelda Wind Waker, but it was still fun game in its own right. It was also backwards compatible with the Game Boy Advance, so I got to play. I think it was like Zelda the Minish Cap on there, which was more traditional Zelda for me, like going back to A Link's Awakening and a Link in Time. What the fuck was that second game?
Oh, A Link Between Worlds, maybe?
No, the second game. The Super Nintendo one. The most famous...
Oh, so I don't know. I didn't play them.
A Link to the Past.
That's it. Not A Link in Time. A Link to the Past. God damn.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like the most...
Because I didn't play them on Super Nintendo. I played the ones on the original Nintendo.
Yeah, that was Link's Awakening was on original Nintendo. And then Link to the Past was Super Nintendo. And then I think they had another one on Super Nintendo. And then 64 was the...
Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Yep, exactly.
Those are still my two favorite Zelda games.
Those were great, And the thing is that that's really playing to their strength. Comical note, of course, one of the things they showed was, ooh, this guy's playing Skyrim portably, and then Bethesda was like,
no,
we're not. We can't confirm any official support yet. I'm like,
the only people who really confirm official support the moment a Nintendo console comes out is Ubisoft. Ubisoft will put their games on anything,
because
and then when it won't sell, they're like, "See ya."
Yeah, they want that more money. So, but here's the thing, though, is that So obviously the concept is interesting. It's essentially think of it like a Nintendo DS that you plug into a dock and you can play it in your living room. You know,
I thought of it actually just as a Wii U that you can play, that you can take with you.
well, no.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is that it does not. So the Wii U was a living room console that had a controller that was a tablet, right? And it had that second
But
screen
the tablet, and
functionality.
I get in the tablet this time it is the console.
Yeah, it is the console, and the thing is that you don't really get that second screen functionality. Now, I was watching Angry Joe's thoughts on it, and there was a couple things that first the things I agreed with was, goddamn, those controllers look absolutely atrocious. I can't remember.
The ones that you pull off on the side.
Yeah, they look so uncomfortable. But the Pro
I mean, they're great
controller,
if you have girl hands.
yeah. But
Well,
no,
that's the
not
thing
even
is,
girl
like, you
hands,
do have
kids' hands, like
yeah,
little
but
kids.
you
Okay,
have
little girl
restrictions
hand.
when you come to mobility like that. You definitely are forced into some restrictions. I mean, think about this. It is not really any worse than the controls for the original Game Boy itself, or a lot of the older variants than that. The thing is those were built into a bigger device, so it seemed like it was bigger, but if you were to actually pull it off in handle format like that, it would not be much different.
Yeah.
And when you have it attached to the tablet device, it's probably going to be far more comfortable than when you have these tiny little fish sticks in your hands.
Well, the thing is though is they do.
It's your niece's console experience.
Yeah. Well, the
That's
thing
the way
is
to
though
put
is
it.
they do have the Pro controller that is kind of reminiscent. It's got the button and stick layout of the Xbox, but kind of the shape of a PlayStation controller. So it's kind of the hybrid. But if you compare the two, DualShock versus Xbox,
It,
I prefer the Xbox design better myself. But
it, it looks like the Pro controller they have for the Wii U, except for they moved the left stick with more Xbox.
yeah, which that's fine. I can understand that. But the thing that I disagreed with was whenever he was like, said something about it being cartridge based, and he was like, "Man, I guess that's gonna kind of limit them on storage space because it's not Blu-ray." I'm like, listen, you do realize there are 256 gigabyte SD cards now. There's 128 gigabyte micro SD cards. Like, cartridge.
Right, this isn't 1999.
Yeah, this isn't 1999.
Yeah.
You can store a lot on a cartridge, and the
Yeah.
access is pretty fast. When you get class 10 and above SD slot cards, they have fast access. So, I actually
I
see
don't
them
necessarily
as...
agree with the idea of cartridges. I think they should have probably just gone with SD
Well,
cards.
it essentially, that's what it is. If you've seen their newer stuff on, like, the DS, it's an SD card. The fucking
Right,
SD
but
card.
my fear is
But
it's proprietary SD card. I don't
Yeah.
want them. I
well,
don't want them to
it
go-
may or may not be the not the reference to a cartridge is obsolete, because the thing is the cartridge in the old cartridge systems had processing power embedded onto the cartridge, not merely just a storage controller or
Yeah.
a storage device with a storage controller built in. Now it's a storage system. It's not a cartridge in the traditional sense.
Yeah, because essentially now it's
because
just like
the
a
console's more than
disc.
powerful now.
Yeah, it used to be the cartridge would help run the game.
Mhm.
And they moved away from that a lot in the N64, but it still provided some effect in the cartridge itself. Now it's just a storage medium and nothing more.
Yeah, and honestly, that's perfectly fine. And to be frankly honest, it to me would be a superior option for a physical game than a disc, because a disc requires spinning and reading like a mechanical hard drive, whereas the those SD cards, that's solid state storage.
Yeah, flash memory.
Yep.
Something I would see as an advantage on this setup, which that Nintendo will likely not do, but would be a good idea, or potentially a good idea, would be a graphical accelerator.
Yeah.
For the dock. You say your portable unit is, for example, 1080p screen and can handle 1080, and you have a 1080p TV, you're fine with that. However, say you've got a 4K TV and you want to push the 4K, obviously you're going to have some expense, a lot of expense on your graphic accelerator, but it would have the potential, a Nintendo system of all things. A console has the potential to game in true 4K because of the modularity of it. It would be very easy to adapt to a graphical accelerator.
That is a very good point, especially with like
think
Thunderbolt
people were
3
hoping with that.
being prevalent now.
I think people were hoping for that kind of functionality with the dock too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I doubt it probably
But
has
I don't
that.
think. I think the dock is just a mirroring station.
Yeah, from what I can tell, it is.
I'm sure it is a mirroring station because you got to think what in a tablet style device, the resolution is going to be cranked pretty high as is. So
Mhm.
any TV resolution is going to meet that resolution or be lower than that. So yeah, I think there's all the necessary processing power for most TVs already in that tablet.
Yeah.
So I guess the question I ask now is the NX what you wanted? Was it what you were hoping to see from Nintendo? For me, it wasn't.
Like honestly, I don't really care about them that much
Yeah, I
anymore.
stopped paying attention to Nintendo a while ago, sadly. It's not that they're irrelevant in the gaming market, they're just not relevant to me.
Yeah.
See, I still want Nintendo to thrive. That's my whole thing. Like, I want
I
Nintendo to
agree.
be successful, but I really think that they could be a good third console if they could get the third party support.
I really dislike the whole dichotomy formed by Sony and Microsoft nowadays. That is something I can agree with. I really wish that we had a good third option in the console space, aside from PC, because PC kind of that's not really competition.
Well,
Well, not
see,
according
like
to
what
Sony. Not according
Yeah.
to Sony,
Well,
because the
we're
PS4 Pro apparently is competing with
what
PCs.
you
I can't say
what you
it's
have
the case.
available now is you have PC, you have in console formats proprietary software, lesser hardware of a PC function, and then you have Nintendo with something different.
yeah, and that's
That's
the way
something
they've been
actually
playing it
different.
since honestly the GameCube. The GameCube was where they
Nintendo's always
really
been different.
well, no, because the thing is that back in the '90s in their golden age, they were just right next to the Sega Genesis, hand in hand, right, doing the same things. And then once the Nintendo 64 came out and just got so heavily obliterated by the PlayStation, they started to kind of go off into this niche market. And
I'm gonna disagree just based on like the control schemes were a little bit. Remember, the Super Nintendo was the first one, for example, to have those shoulder buttons. The Genesis didn't have that.
yes,
They were trying to still be family
Well,
friendly, and then Sega was trying to be edgy, and they were trying to be different. They were the ones who had Blood and Mortal Kombat, had games like Streets of Rage, or where you really wanted to play your fighters was the Genesis, or your side-scrolling beat 'em ups. You want to play the Genesis.
but there was a lot of games that were same between both. My point is that largely the consoles. Now, like I said, Super Nintendo was the superior console, and it had more games for it, and it had more popularity.
Define superior.
As in, it sold more. It was more popular. It was more widely accepted.
Yeah, hardware-wise,
I was
near identical to the Genesis.
Yeah.
Well, the hardware was better than the Super Nintendo too.
Yeah, the
My
hardware
argument,
was.
I think the Genesis had better games.
Yeah, in large part, but I mean, like a lot of the first-party ones that defined Nintendo as a company, like Super Mario and Legend of Zelda, for example.
Those were on the NES.
Those were on.
It wasn't
those
necessarily
really came into
better
their own on NES.
It
Super
wasn't
Nintendo.
necessarily better games on Sega. It was less restrictive games to fit the family-friendly environment for Nintendo.
Exactly, because the original name
maybe I'm
of the
fanboying because I did prefer Genesis over Nintendo all the way.
well, the thing
There's
is,
some people that prefer Genesis, and the reason why they liked it was because of the more aggressive, edgy nature of it. It's like, oh, I can play the Mortal Kombat with the blood on my Genesis. The Mortal Kombat game played the same on both systems, but you wanted the Mortal Kombat with all of its original gruesome glory, then you wanted it on Genesis, not Super Nintendo.
the thing is there was a bit of that on there, but a lot of people, like today, DualShock versus Xbox One, they would claim up and down that the Sega controller was superior. Well, for them, it might have been the whole three button curve design that they had, where it was easy to get your thumb from A to C.
I mean, I think if you had the 6-button controller for the Genesis, you might have had an argument.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that regardless, they were largely the same form factor, largely the same features to them. Like, yeah, you could say these little things were better about one or the other, but largely they were the same thing. They were both cartridge-based systems, and had very similar experience. once you got into the PlayStation versus the 64, right? That was Nintendo trying to keep doing the same thing they did, only improved from that. And honestly, the Nintendo 64 was a damn good system. But the flood of games that the PlayStation had and that new medium of the disc-based medium, just there was nothing Nintendo could do. It just obliterated it. And as a result,
I remember that to this day is actually my favorite generation of gaming. That 64 versus PS1, two of my favorite consoles of all time. I love that time.
Yeah, well,
PS1 killed it.
But pretty much after that, Nintendo has just kind of gone off, like they just spun off into their own little world of niche consoles. When you look at it, because after that was the GameCube, right? Which was kind of no, actually, it had some good games.
I hated the GameCube.
It was.
It wasn't horrible. It was just, it was superseded at that point in time. There was so much overwhelming. Like, okay, the Xbox had come out at that point, and like, all right, we pretty much have a PC that's in a console format.
Well,
the PlayStation 2 was.
It was the PlayStation 2 just dominated everything.
Yeah, there's the PlayStation 2 at the time too. The PlayStation 2 had sales domination over the Xbox. The Xbox was growing in popularity, and we saw the turnaround when the generation after that came out. That was the thing. It's like Microsoft
that was because Sony got
That's because Nintendo kind of gave it to them, though.
Nintendo just literally like backed out of the race, so to speak.
And Sony Xbox being the new guy, they weren't going. You don't expect the new guy to win. It's like it was basically Sony's for the taking.
Well, the thing is, though, is the original Xbox and the PS2. The PS2 significantly more are still two of the highest grossing consoles that were released at their time. Like when you look
at the original Xbox,
the Xbox was not near as good as the PlayStation 2 by any means. But the
no, I didn't know the original Xbox sold like that.
It sold pretty well. It's honestly
I didn't know it was like
it got greatly overshadowed by the 360, but the PlayStation 2 still overshadows them all. Like whenever
the
people,
PlayStation 2 is the highest grossing console of all time.
Of all
PS4
time,
is really close.
Like whenever, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not even fucking close. Not even close. If you look it up, like I think it was like, what was it, like 150 million or something, and PlayStation 4 is sitting at like 70 or 80, something like that. It's not even close. It's not even.
I think that's just it's getting there.
No, it's not, because the sales are already slowing down because of the PS4 Pro. And so
but they're going to count those sales as PS4.
If they do that.
So that'll be interesting.
That's a lie.
The biggest thing about PS2 is, people not wanting to go through emulators or other things like that.
Yep.
PS2 had an exclusivity to people's collections of both PS2 and PS1 games. You wanted to play your old stuff, you wanted a PS2 for that, even if you were sitting on the new PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 for that matter. And, yes, the PS Now service has, made some changes to that, but there's still some stuff that, you already paid for it. It's already in your collection. You just need a system to run it, and people have gone and bought out a new slim PS2 to handle all that stuff.
And honestly, that was one of the things really that got the sales rolling, because look at the field. You had the Sega Dreamcast, right? Very niche. It was a great console, and sadly just fell on its face.
One of my favorites.
But
the Atari Jaguar was also a great failure as well.
But the thing is, though, is that Xbox or Microsoft picked up the design cues. I can't remember if they bought the design from Sega or what, but they actually
that would make sense. Because I feel like the 360 was what the Dreamcast should have been.
Well, the original Xbox, when you looked at the design of it, the controller was very much reminiscent of the Dreamcast, but better. Like they did it right.
What I'm saying, I feel like the 360 was just a better Dreamcast.
Well, yeah, so
it was like they got it right, like they refined it.
So was the original Xbox. The original Xbox was a better Dreamcast.
What happened with the Xbox One then?
I don't know. But the thing is, though,
we went left field.
I
didn't play the original Xbox.
So my point is, though, is that at the time, though, you have Sega Dreamcast, one off, no backwards compatibility. Original Xbox, new guy in the block, no backwards compatible games at all to even try to play. The GameCube, complete format change, so no backwards compatible with the cartridge-based 64. PlayStation 2, backwards compatible with PlayStation 1, both of which were prolific in their own. So it's kind of like that really helped boost it on there because you had 2 consoles worth of games to play. But like I said, the whole point of where I'm going with that though is that like Nintendo just kind of from that point spun off into this little niche market in their own little world where they're not ever failing. And I kind of feel like that's something that really kind of bugs me about what Nintendo's doing is because they've refused to enter into the main console race essentially and compete directly with Sony and Microsoft. They are kind of in this own little world where they can't ever fail because they're only competing with themselves. And I feel like that's pretty disingenuous.
Reggie said some bullshit like that a couple months ago, where we don't really worry about what Sony and Microsoft are doing. We see what they're doing, but we want to continue to do our own thing. That's such a cop out. He knows that basically we're going to get obliterated. He knew that the Switch wasn't what everybody was hyping it up to be. I still don't think it's what everybody's hyping it up to be. It's not going to do Wii numbers.
No,
I think it'll probably be better than the Wii U, hopefully. It's really going to depend on the games, and we still haven't seen any hardware specs on it. But it's
not going to be strong.
Not going to be that. Yeah, it's not going to be that great because it's a tablet, and Nintendo consoles tend to be.
From what I understand, it is powered by a Nintendo, NVIDIA Tegra. Yeah, which don't get me wrong, that I know from experience, Tegras are damn good mobile processors. They have if you're gonna have a tablet that you want to game on, that is literally the best you can do. That is,
but
you
still have it mobile.
Yeah. Well, you still have the disadvantages of gaming on a RISC or on an ARM system.
Yeah.
The way the instructions operate on there is not as great for high-end gaming. Like that whole visual of Skyrim. Like I really do not see Skyrim being on that system.
Yeah.
If it is, it's going to be greatly reduced.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be 720p.
Well, the thing is though is that my kind of thing is so. What do people like about kind of the DS, right? When you look at the DS, people like it because and just like the Game Boy and other portable consoles like that in the past, it's all in one. You've got the controller, the screen, everything is just built into one form factor, right? So the thing about the Switch that kind of I felt like whenever they're showing like these kids when I say kids, I mean young adults.
As in he's old.
As in he's old, but he was acting like a kid. In the backseat of the car, and they've got the screen propped up somewhere, and they've got their little controllers playing in the car, and I'm like, ain't nobody gonna want to fucking do that, right? They want the screen right there in front of them. Even when you're playing on a tablet or a phone, you want that screen right there. You interact directly with that screen. And I think that they would have done better to have a portable box that, you could sit in the car, but then each controller has a little screen on it. So essentially you've got a little DS type experience, but it's linked into a more powerful console. So essentially...
You know what's funny? Go ahead. I was thinking about that when you were mentioning them sitting in the back of the car. They all sat around that little tablet, standing over those 2 girls playing.
Yep.
People say that we don't want to gather around a PC monitor. You can get this glorious 27, 32-inch PC monitor. Nobody wants to sit around that. But then they sat around this little tablet.
Yeah, and that's to me. I feel like that's really gonna kill it. Is that the portable aspect of it is just really it's really not gonna be worth anything.
That's something some of us, who are older gamers used to do, but we're beyond that point. We would huddle around a 15 or 17 inch tube TV, but that's no like we're spoiled by modern tech. Like, if it's anything less than a 50-inch,
Yeah,
that sort
exactly.
of
That's what
thing.
she said.
But yeah. So let's go ahead and get moving on, and we're actually going to, as I'm looking at the time, we're going to nix the third news story and go from the second story directly into our evergreen, just to abbreviate time, because yeah, had a
Let's
lot
go
of
to the
good
third and nix the
discussion.
second.
Why? No, the second one's great. We're totally not nixing the second one. I am
Oh, yeah.
not like so. So last podcast that we did, we got to talk about how great Samsung was for forward thinking on integrating a Steam Link into a TV, and ain't that cool?
And then they bashed our praise, they bashed our glory.
No, then them Samsung, because Samsung is salty as fuck about the Note 7. It was
Oh,
like,
jeez.
you could not ask for a bigger PR disaster. Because I mean, all the smartphones that come out nowadays, you always hear like rumors of them exploding and stuff like that. But usually that's negative press put out by or like boosted by their competitors, right?
Or Bengate. Don't forget about Bengate.
Yeah, but the Note 7 legitimately was fucking exploding. And that's like, they first recalled it and fixed the battery or something, re-released it, same thing happening again, so they had to fucking completely discontinue the Note 7 line. So when
Boom,
someone
bitch.
comes out with a GTA 5 mod where you throw Note 7s at people as grenades, Samsung was not too pleased about it. They filed copyright takedowns for any videos with it on there, and so obviously, while we laugh at this, and like, haha, they're really upset that someone made a mod like that. I I feel like, do we have to have this conversation about fair use again?
Yeah, I think it's
Yes,
straight out abuse on that. It's a
it is.
parody. I mean, come on.
It's
They
a
got mods
parody. It's
for it.
also
They need that mod.
criticism, right? You're essentially
Yeah.
criticizing them for their failure.
The thing,
Or just
like,
make fun of it. It's satire.
and
Yeah.
you've gone over this before. Like, well, I'd say like, I've talked with you guys before about it before, just not on the podcast. Where getting salty about the criticism, parodies, and such like that just ends up with more negative PR. I mean, it's
Yep.
like, all right, you already shot yourself in one foot. All right, well, you're just taking care of the other one for us. I mean, hell, come on.
Yeah, and this is like, and like, say for example, Apple's just sitting up there like laughing their asses off because Samsung is just, at this point, they're self-destructing with that move.
Yeah.
That's not good for their share prices, because now they look like they're being a big overlord boss type of thing. Nobody likes that. We know they're trying to do it for damage control because they want people to just forget that the Note 7 happened. Sorry, nobody's fucking forgetting. You made a grenade that looked like a phone.
Oh,
And
bitch!
and the fucking awesome GTA 5 mod community knows that, and they're not going to let you forget either. So you get to fucking throw Note 7s at civilians and hookers and blow them up. Yep.
I mean,
Because it's
that is
GTA 5.
note to the
expensive for
modders
a
out there.
grenade.
Next time, just change your phone name to Damn Son instead of Samsung, and you'll be
Damn,
fine.
son.
Damn, son.
Everybody will get it.
Exactly. But so now, as far as I heard, one of the videos did get put back up. But I think another one, I don't know if the person just never disputed it or what. Again, I could go on and rant about YouTube's broken ass fucking content ID and their DMCA systems. Which
We'd be
really
here all
is
day if we start talking about that.
yeah, that's like, currently I'm in the middle of a fucking copyright dispute because like, there's one whenever Xaiphen and I here were playing some Overwatch, and he was at work, and over the PA system at his work, garbly as hell, you heard an Almond Brothers song come on, and here comes fucking UMG, goddamn Universal. Oh, there was an Almond Brothers song that played for 1 minute of your 2-hour fucking your 2-hour fucking live stream. So we're gonna file a content ID claim on that.
I got ID claimed once. My neighbors started playing loud music, and you could hear it through the window in here. Because you can't see it from here, but on the other side of my camera, there's a window.
Yeah.
And so you can hear, so it's coming directly in through that window. Got copyright ID claimed.
Yeah. And like the current one I have is now, to be fair, if this was a major highlight of the game, I would point out I was playing a mod for Medieval 2 Total War that's Elder Scrolls Total War, and it's fucking amazing. I did not realize. Huh?
Bethesda came after you, didn't they?
No. Bethesda, come on. Their mod community is all about shit. So of course they don't care. No, where the problem was is that the mod creator here, some Russian guys, a big surprise, decided to throw in some music from the movie. What was it? Prince of Persia. The movie Prince of Persia. I.e., hey, guess what? Universal's back again. They really love my channel, apparently. Like, that's the only time I've ever gotten content ID claimed is by UMG. So
yeah, they're fast. UMG. I saw somebody claim them because they were at the beach and waves were in the background while a guy was doing a vlog.
No,
and UMG claimed it.
Well, you know what UMG is most known for when it comes to YouTube and content ID claims, right? Lens versus UMG. Lens versus UMG, where they spectacularly lost a lawsuit and then lost the appeal to the lawsuit, where they tried to take down a video that someone shot with their cell phone of a little baby dancing, or like a little toddler dancing to some pop song that was out now that happened to be under UMG's rights. The entirety of the video had that audio playing, right? But the court deemed that because the focus of the video was the kid, not the music, that therefore there was fair use. So tell me, if I happen to be playing a game where the focus is me and the game, a brief section in time, probably about 5 minutes, I think, in the case of this one, or 1 minute in the case of when I was playing with Xaiphen and we heard over his PA, what is the focus of that video? Is it the copyrighted music? I doubt it. That's
and it's all about intention.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that they do decide fair use cases on a base by base basis, because it is kind of a gray area. But I mean, shit, like, for example, Angry Joe fucking like doing a review of the announcement for the Nintendo Switch, going back to our first story on there. Guess what? Nintendo claimed it. Fucking Nintendo claimed that video. They're about as bad as Sega and Konami yeah.
See, I've done some Sega videos. I've never gotten claimed by Sega.
They can.
Actually, I mean, I did a Let's Play of the first few levels of Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Wow.
Let the music ride and everything. No claim.
Then maybe they changed that policy, because I know at one point people were bashing the hell out of Sega for their overly aggressive content ID claims.
Yeah, that happened when I was doing my retro series.
Nintendo does it because, let's be frankly honest, it's their own self-interest, because they started up their own multi-channel network on YouTube, where they take a cut of you playing a game that you bought from Nintendo. So you have to pay Nintendo in order to play the game, and then you pay them again in order to have the privilege of using the game that you bought on YouTube, because Nintendo.
Because it's peasantry. Yeah. It's peasantry to the extent of Xbox and PlayStation, when they charge you to access your own internet connection.
Yeah,
it's that kind of peasantry.
Yep, and I just I can't even. I have no evens. But I suppose we do actually have time to get to the third story on here. So let's go and move on to that guy. Cover that guy briefly, and then we'll spend the last half an hour or so on the evergreen topics. Evergreen. So the story that we were going to skip and decided not to was there as of yesterday. Actually, not today. Starting yesterday, The voice actors that belong to the Screen Actors Guild, I don't remember what AFTRA stands for, went on strike after negotiations with a group of major AAA publishers broke down. And a lot of people are just kind of immediately dismiss voice actors as being divas, or they accuse the Screen Actors Guild of just kind of being greedy and trying to be difficult, that sort of thing. So it's either the screen actor, or it's actually the voice actor's fault, or the guild's fault. Who knows? Do you guys think?
People are fast to damage control, and
Mhm.
we see it here on YouTube. People will damage control for a game. They'll damage control for plastic. They'll damage control anything. Anything that if I like it, then they're right at all times, even when they fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening here. We don't see people as people. We don't see these people as, oh, they're working a job, and they're saying, we're having to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and not being compensated for it. And people are saying, well, that's okay because I want my game.
Well, so the thing is that now they do get compensated currently, and oftentimes, especially in these big budget games, they get compensated pretty well. If you're Nolan North, for example, you're making like $100 an hour. Let's be straight up, because he's in demand. People will pay, and that's just how supply and demand. When you're an in-demand voice actor, people will pay through the nose to get it. The concern that a lot of voice actors have expressed is, first of all, so as with any commission work, they typically work long hours, to get things done, and don't often get as many breaks. And that was one of the points of contention on here. When you're a voice actor, your voice is your money maker, right? If you overwork your voice, what's gonna happen to it? It's gonna stop working. It's kind of like a professional athlete that overworks himself, doesn't properly rest in between workouts. He's gonna start tearing muscles, and he's no longer be able to compete.
Well, that's also one thing that you look at on the difference between voice acting and live video acting. Is live video acting is not entirely just doing one thing. You've got a variability of what you're doing, and especially looking at action movies, you can go through entire scenes where the most you say is, but it is also not a forced vocal sound effect like what you're dealing with voice acting, where you have to put a lot more effort and distinction into that because you're not physically acting it out.
Well, like as the
well,
best
some
way,
of them get into it, but still.
Well, no, like the best way it was described, and the best way to kind of define a voice actor, right, was, and he's not a voice actor usually, but was Vin Diesel playing Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy, which he voice acted for. And essentially the script he was given is, I am Groot, 100 times down the page, but then next to it is what he's actually intending to say. So Vin Diesel has to create different intonations of I am Groot, to sound, to try to cater it to the sentence he's actually trying to say. That's not fucking easy at all. At all. But
no.
So the thing is, though, is that film actors have set standards on the hours they work and the time in between shots. They have to do breaks. They have to do things like that. Those regulations are not actually really in voice acting. While I imagine there are good publishers out there, good game developers who try to use their voice acting and their voice talent responsibly, I have absolutely no doubt that the companies like Activision, or EA have no fucking problem working their voice talent to the bone, because they don't care about people. They're a company that just cares about money.
Yeah.
So in that regard,
go fuck Ubisoft, hashtag.
Yeah, right. But so the other point of contention on there too was kind of residuals on the income. And this is the one that's a little bit trickier, right? So safety in the workplace, that's good. That should always be something that people strive for. The other point that they're really trying to push on here is when a voice actor does work, for example, say Nolan North playing Nathan Drake, right? He gets paid X amount per hour for the hours he works in that particular game. Mm-hmm. And then what they also wanted is hey, he should also get a cut of the sales because obviously people are partially buying the game because of his exceptional work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that one.
Except developers don't get any such residuals.
The way I look at that is much like you do in movies. Like, there's a lot of actors, if they get residuals like back end payment, it's contingent to their investment into the movie. If their investment is just their skill, then they get a fixed payment, and they're the people who actually fund the movie are like, all right, bye, you got your money. We're going into post. We're going to publish it, and that's it. But there's movies out there, and people aren't even aware of this, where the actors themselves are actually investing into that work.
Yes.
Like I think it was Blade 2 or 3 and on, Wesley Snipes was investing into that. Was the Witch Hunter or whatever of Vin Diesel, he invested his money into that movie. And there's many other cases where actors invest into the movies and they get a back end payment as a result of that.
Because they're producers.
That's the case. Exactly. They're funding, then they get, variable cut on that. And that's the way I see it. It should be the same as voice actors. If you're not investing your own pocket into this into this work, then your cut or your payment should be fixed, upfront and fixed. Like, all right, you put in 30 hours worth of work, we have your hourly rate. Here's your 30 hours worth of, hourly rate, and then that's it. Like, oh, you want to donate, or you want to not donate. Now donate. You want to invest. Exactly. You want to invest, several $1,000s worth of work. Like, all right, pull it up. You've invested 1%, so you get a 1% back end cut off of the actual profits on this.
Yeah, and that's kind of my opinion on it. When I heard them saying that was one of the points, I was like, really? Like that? I don't know. That seems a little finicky to me. Like, that's shaky. Like, I don't see, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of the games are known for being as iconic as they are because of some of the voice actors. For example, Jennifer Hale.
Jen Hale.
Yeah,
in Mass Effect. I cannot picture Femshep as anyone else.
Yeah, like,
but I'd also think maybe like Elena Fisher in Uncharted.
Although this isn't exactly
or Nolan North in Uncharted, right?
Or Michael Ironside as Sam Fisher.
Except they replaced him in the last one, and that was a big.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing as David Hayter as Solid Snake until the most recent, recent game in that series. That was a big thing. Like, David Hayter has been playing Solid Snake since the '90s, the early '90s. He was like, well, I don't know if early '90s.
And although people don't realize this as much, anyone other than Mark Hamill is the Joker.
Yep. But the thing is that I think a lot of people have seen him play the Joker role in The Flash, although he wasn't playing the Joker, he was playing another minor DC villain. That was crazy.
But he was The Flash.
He was actually in his Joker persona, and you could tell. It was like, yep, that sounds just like the Joker I'm used to from the cartoons and from Arkham series.
I have not seen The Flash, nor have I seen Gotham. Just because, like, I look at Gotham and like, oh, look, it's like Smallville, except it's even crappier. It's like, all right, here's Batman without Batman.
Yeah, I have difficulty. Don't get me wrong. One of the things that to tangent on that a little bit, the thing I do like about what Gotham tries to do is I hate any story that's just like, here's a bad guy who's doing bad stuff because he's a bad guy. Oh, like Corypheus from Dragon Age. It's like, I really don't feel...
They're childish story plots.
It's like I really don't feel any real strong intonation on there. Well, a lot of what Gotham kind of does is you get kind of this backstory. You get a kind of a bit more insight into a lot of the villains, and that's something that I kind of find interesting about it. I otherwise it's I kind of on it.
Yeah, I agree with that part, and that's about as far as I go. Another thing I don't like about shows like this, that are based off of the greater world, superhero, supervillain world. It's like, oh look, they were kids. We all knew each other and lived in the same place. Like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, that's
The
like
same issue I had with
Smallville.
Smallville. Yeah, I hated that
I mean,
factor in there.
it works sometimes. I'm thinking about it. Like I've been reading the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the IDW comics, the 2011 series, and in that series, Shredder and Splinter, they grew up together. They were friends. They moved up in the Foot Clan, and the story is actually really good. They ended up eventually. Shredder had Splinter assassinated. They got reincarnated, came back, and fought it out 300 years later in modern day from Japan. It works.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier to explain that relationship that way than the original way of I was once Shredder's pet rat and I mimicked all of his training moves and that's how I learned.
Hamada Yoshi was assassinated by the Shredder again, but Splinter was Hamada Yoshi's pet rat who watched Shredder kill Yoshi.
Oh, okay. No,
like as you can tell, I've been watching. And you can tell as
I'm talking about the first movie. The first movie where he was Shredder's pet rat.
No, Shredder killed his master.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. Okay, yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that show was a little flimsy to me. Like, don't get me wrong, rats are pretty intelligent animals. I don't think they're that intelligent.
Right.
No.
But in any case though, so the one final point that I'll make on this whole strike deal is the Screen Actors Guild only covers about 25% of voice actors. So do you guys think that this is really going to have any impact? Is this going to make your publishers like budge on their position at all? Like, oh, only a quarter of our voice actors are not there. I don't know if, by the way, I'm not sure who's affiliated with SAG, if Jennifer Hale or Nolan North is. If they are, then this would have a big impact, obviously, because they're in every video game. But do you guys really think, if not, if this is really going to do anything?
I don't think it will. Because it comes a lot with association. Like Jennifer Hale's in a lot of games, but everybody really just thinks of her as Shepard at this point.
I mean,
like,
yeah.
She's in other games. She's in all kinds of games. But the one role that everybody really thinks about her in is female Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to happen the same thing with Nolan North. You can put him in as many roles as you want to. I remember they put him as the Dinklebot in Destiny. And they still think of him as Nathan Drake.
Yep.
I think that's what's going to happen. You're just going to find somebody else who's going to fill that role. And they're kind of just going to get forgotten, for lack of a better term.
The thing is as David Hayter, right, can attest, nobody has a problem, or Michael Ironside, although Ironside has his own things going on, right? He's a established actor, but like David Hayter, very, very well-known voice talent for his work as, Solid Snake. They had no problem dropping him for Kiefer Sutherland.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from what I remember, that wasn't exactly something he was happy about. It wasn't like, oh guys, I can't do any more voice acting anymore. You have to find someone else. No, it was pretty much they wanted to go with someone new, someone more high profile. So they went and got a fucking Hollywood actor.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah. Anyway, let's get moving on to something slightly more fun to talk about here.
You mean funner than exploding Samsung phones?
Although that is
damn, son.
Yeah. Damn, son. But so in any case, though, in kind of in lieu of the currently ongoing ARG of the soon to be released character for Overwatch, I kind of want to discuss the kind of history, the fascination, and the pitfalls of alternate reality games. So to give people a backstory before we kind of go into this is currently what is happening is there's an upcoming character for Overwatch called Sombra that is going to be released sometime in the near future. For the past, I want to say like 4 months or so, there's been kind of, since Sombra is a some kind of stealthy hacker type character, they've been having an alternate reality game that involves like kind of real life websites and things being a little messed up, but it also carries into games. And there's been puzzles for people to solve. The most recent one was there was like some kind of update patch in the source code of a website, and then whenever the actual game updated to match that version number that was in that source code, there was something with Bastion where you'd go up to this one console and the console and he would beep or whatever. A bunch of like, really loosely assembled things together to kind of make a story. So my question to you guys is, or my opening to the discussion on this is, what do you guys kind of think of alternate reality games? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you remember any of them? So on and so forth.
I have no experience with alternate reality games, so this is one I'm going to have to sit quietly and watch the show.
It's because Kev only plays the video games. He never pays attention to anything else.
No. Kev only plays shooters, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
Shooters. But then again, I play dwarf games. Before it was Kev won't play anything without a dwarf in it.
He plays casual games. So what do you think of it, Xaiphen?
You're going to have to refresh me on this if you did not notice my camera blank out.
Okay, so
I kind of missed what you were just saying.
So essentially, there's a currently ongoing alternate reality game, kind of in the background, or a soon-to-be released character for Overwatch called Sombra. Sombra is like a hacker type character who I'm assuming is gonna have like some kind of similar type effect as a character in the game. But there's currently been websites, fake websites that have been hacked by Sombra.
Oh,
and that
okay.
Sort of thing.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to read on it earlier. My OneNote was fighting with me and would not want to launch those links properly in the browser once I got that far. I was still fighting with OneNote. So that's why I wasn't getting the reference to the alternate reality. Honestly, as long as they don't go too overkill with that sort of thing, I think it's fun and interesting, and how in-depth some of it can be is very creative. It's I'm not familiar with Sombra so much, but I was familiar with the lead up to the Halo 2 launch. That was very interesting to me. I thought that, I thought that was great. I think it did something similar with Halo 3 as well. I can't remember, although it's because it's been a while.
It was a lot weaker, but they even tied that whole ARG back into Durandal, which was one of Bungie's much earlier games. We're talking Doom, original Doom era, mid-90s game. Marathon Durandal.
Yeah, Marathon.
And they even tied that ARG back into that. That was so creatively elaborate. I can't remember the name of the company that did it. It was something 72 or 42 or something like that. But there's actually a company they hired to do that. And it all started with the I Love Bees website. Well, started with a trailer for Halo 2 that at the end of the trailer, it briefly flashed the website ilovebees.com. Briefly. You had to be really fucking paying attention to even notice it. And some people did notice it. And they went to that website. And it appeared to be a website about a beekeeper, and selling honey and that sort of thing. And then so essentially... there was just stuff that was weird about the website, like characters that didn't fit in places and that sort of thing. And there was a blog post by supposedly the webmaster of that website that was saying that they were having problems with a hacker that took over it. Well, essentially, trying to abbreviate this because there was a lot to it. What this ended up doing was, as these people deciphered stuff and solved the puzzles involved with it, it revealed the story about an AI that was trapped on Earth. Its only way of communicating with us was through these cryptic messages. And, it all led up to the launch of Halo 2. And it was a brilliant thing. It really got hype going, right?
Yeah.
A lot better than No Man's Sky. Oh!
That's the right way. Get people asking questions. That's and I mean like questions that shouldn't need to be asked. Like, why do bees have legs? So questions just like, wait, what?
Why is there
What?
space?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what reality am I in? That sort of thing. And that's the reference to being alternate reality, as opposed to like, oh, what features are this game going to have? Like, well, that's standard interview questions you can see with any preceding a game launch, as opposed to like, what the hell were these people smoking when they came up with this? Or like, somebody's got way too many conspiracy theories lurking in their head.
Why is the ground flat but the Earth is round?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, like so this is something that I guess we can draw Kev into the conversation on here. Is so because obviously he doesn't have a lot of experience. Is so given kind of the internet's propensity, like you see any game launch, right? Like or any major event, how people will just they will look for stuff. Like for example, here's a good example of where I'm going with this is Mass Effect 3's indoctrination theory, right? Like people try to put meaning to things and try to piece together these really elaborate conspiracies.
Tried. They're still doing it.
Yeah.
5 years, almost 5 years later, they're still coming up with additions to the indoctrination theory, even though BioWare keeps saying that's not what happened.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing, though: is do you think like that mentality of gamers, right? The kind of sentiment behind that sort of thing is kind of really what ARGs play to, right? The people that want to find these little hidden nuggets in here and piece together a big conspiracy that's going on behind the scenes.
See, I think this is what happens when people have too much free time in their hands, and they need a woman in their life. Maybe a man. If it's a lady, because ladies do this too.
Or it could be a man that wants a man, or a woman that wants a woman.
I'm not PC enough to include everyone. If you like small animals, whatever you do.
Okay, that's actually illegal.
Keep it safe, keep it legal.
So yeah,
only in certain states.
No little kids. No little kids either. Consenting adults.
No little kids are just disgusting.
Yeah.
And the alternate reality effect. It's not just games either. It's not just gamers. You look at the people how they pick apart movie universes. Like you if you've ever read the theory on the Tarantino's connected universe, it's actually pretty interesting on how Tarantino's linked everything together.
I actually was unaware that they did that. Like I know that they did that with so there's a theory currently on BioWare's connected universe with Dragon Age and Mass Effect, how they're actually in the same universe.
They are. They're just ones in medieval times.
Like Tarantino,
and the
like
mages were the original biotics.
There was what was it? I think it was Pulp Fiction. There was a movie. I think it was Pulp Fiction, or maybe it was. At any rate, there's a movie producer or whatever who was actually a direct descendant of the movie producer in Inglourious Basterds. And there was also certain other things that lined up with the history that was set by Inglourious Basterds and their killing of Hitler and that sort of thing. Like it was an entire alternate reality. That all of Tarantino's movies are supposedly in that universe. And like when you read up people's research on this, like this makes sense.
Well, and the thing is that I think a smart company or a smart marketing division at least, or a smart marketing company, whatever, kind of can play into this. Like I said, with the current thing that's going on with Overwatch right now, where it's at is there's this website that I included in the thumbnail here. This website that supposedly belongs to a clean energy company. What the hell was it called? I have it on the damn thingamabobber here.
Thingamabobber for the win. That's the technical term.
Lumerico, right? So this energy company called Lumerico. Lumerico doesn't actually exist. Lumerico is a fictional company in the Overwatch universe.
Oh, it will exist if I want it to exist, goddamn.
Well, no, yeah, let's get real here, because there's actually a company called Cyber9 Systems that actually produces robotic parts. So, people will eventually maybe.
It's not just the robotic parts; they produce a robotic part called HAL.
Yes, the HAL. how I think they're actually
There's
on the
other
HAL
stuff that they
7000.
do as well, but it's just the hybrid assistive limb that they had to call HAL. The HAL 9000. What are you doing, Dave?
Yeah, like they definitely are very meta in their jokes, right? But yeah, so the current thing though is this: there's a website for this energy company that seems all fine and good and everything's good, great, and essentially Sombra is saying, "Oh, this company's corrupt. You have to hack into them," and she's like, "Hey, here's a here's a username and password I was able to engineer out of one of the techs or whatever, and you log into this website and you can read emails and like there's like links to let you eventually get the username and password of the president of the company in order to find incriminating evidence. Like I said, it makes you kind of feel like you're actually like making some difference in the world, except not the real world.
Sounds like Watch Dogs.
Except not the real world.
Hence alternate reality.
So some people call it getting high.
Yeah, Kev prefers things like female company and having a family and a real life to ARGs. I guess the part that fascinates me is, don't get me wrong, the way that they leave these breadcrumbs that are very tiny and people still manage to pick them up. I do like that, but I think probably what's more fascinating to me in the kind of really weird psychology thing that I kind of go into is the more like culture around it, like the people that really dive into these things. And I feel like that, like, if they're not there, people tried to make ARGs like indoctrination theory. So I guess my question is, do you think companies should try to play a little bit more into these? Not too frequently, but on more occasions than currently happens. Do you think that that gaming companies should kind of play these alternate reality games a bit more?
Couldn't hurt.
I think they should. If the developers are into it, they have the free time for it, and they have at least a little bit of skill on setting it up. Oh, I'm all for it.
The more
even if I don't
get
get in. Yeah, I was going to say, even if I don't get interested into chasing the breadcrumbs, I like watching, reading up on how people have traced it back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about it too, though. How much time are they spending on ARG and not on giving us more content for Overwatch? Like, I mean, beyond skins. I still want some new characters. I want some more maps. I know we got a character, a map.
I don't think they're actually. So here's the thing: like, I Love Bees was done by a third party, not Bungie, and that very well may be the case here.
Well, I hope it's not Bungie. I hope they're working on Halo 6.
No. That was I Love Bees is done.
I Love Bees is old.
That was for Halo 2 back in 2004. So what I said is they hired a third-party company to do that ARG. So it's entirely possible that Blizzard may have outsourced this ARG to another company. So they're still working on their shit. They're doing their stuff. They're making content for the game, but they're having someone else, maybe a different division in the Blizzard company, that's doing this ARG. That's not working on the game. So I whenever I hear people that are like, man, you should stop doing this stuff and instead work on the game. Well, they still are. There are still developers working on the game. It's not the developers, the coders that are doing this shit. It's either a marketing department who is not, they're not coders, they're not making the game, or it's a third-party marketing company, a marketing firm that's doing it. So I do want to make sure that people understand that, because I hear that comment a lot. Like, focus on just making the game. Don't worry about this stuff. Well, they still are. They can do two things at once.
No, they can't. I don't have that much faith in them.
But
yes, I do, but I'm talking shit.
So the I guess the real concern on this is, right, Sombra better be like an amazing hero with all of this shit, and I'm hoping that we actually get a new map to go with this too.
Mass Effect 3 spoiled the hell out of me. I really want them to do like a release schedule like that. Like, I want to end up with 60 characters by the end of the first year with 13 new maps. What up, Blake? And yeah, that's what I want. That's what I need. You make it happen. Make it happen, Blizzard.
Well, and that's the thing is that I do feel like that would behoove a hero shooter, right? Because the whole focus of the game is on heroes, right? So I kind of feel like that would be a fair, like a fair thing to want more variety. And I mean, they have a lot of heroes now, but I kind of like the idea. The fortunate thing is I am kind of glad though that they do take their time in releasing heroes. They don't just spam out, that are taking the abilities of May and Hanzo and putting them together. Like no, thanks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah, that's especially I think when Mass Effect got toward its end with the multiplayer. You saw it especially with that collector DLC, the second to last one.
Yeah.
Where it was all really just spin-offs of old characters.
Yep. Now the Earth DLC that was really unique though. And
yeah, the Earth one was good. I think all the other ones were actually good. It was the last two kind of.
Well, no,
particularly
Earth,
like I said, the second to last one.
Earth was in the
where they
middle.
had like 30
of
characters.
But yeah, no, Earth was in the middle. That was all the N7 characters. But then the very last one, Reckoning, was the most unique. That's when you got the Geth Prime.
Right, I remember you got the Geth Prime, you got the Krogan with the hammer, you got the Edie bot.
Yeah, like you had a whole bunch of really unique.
You got the collector.
Yeah, they were all really unique. And you know what? BioWare did kind of the same thing with Dragon Age too. So the first, character. No, actually, they pretty much all the characters they released post-launch, like all the original set roster of characters, were just pretty much mix and match skills from those classes in single player. But after that, all the post-launch DLC characters had a lot of unique and interesting mechanics that weren't available in single player at all. Which I'm like, that's cool. That's interesting. And by the way, Blake, I just want to say, I would rather drink bleach while stabbing myself in the eye with needles than play League of Legends.
Well, damn. I mean, Deathshroud, he's not here today. He plays Dota.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played a little bit of League, but it's not my kind of game.
Yeah. When I play League, it involves me saying, okay, I don't really know the meta for playing this character. Can you guys help me out? And the usually something like the response I get is, go hang yourself. That's the best way to help us out.
Right, yeah, I've seen those too. I do like Smite. I think Smite's really cool.
Yeah, Smite's cool.
But I don't get down in Dota. Not Dota League first.
Speaking of Smite, they have a Smite Tactics game coming out that I'm concerned and interested in a very morbid way on where they're going with that. But yeah, Heroes of the Storm Master Race, because Blizzard apparently can do no wrong. Heroes is a bit better with the community. It has gotten a bit more
Heroes
toxic.
is okay.
Yeah, since the game itself fosters more teamwork and like objectives, it tends to be a little bit less toxic, but it still has a lot of those elements in it. It's like a MOBA thing.
You would think that, but Overwatch is completely objective based, and people still are very toxic on that game.
No, not on the MOBA level. Like, well, CS:GO is pretty bad, but and that's not a MOBA.
Yeah, and then that's a play the objective game too.
Yeah, so it's like
so is Rainbow Six Siege can get there too.
I think
only if you knew though.
I think the reason why a lot of times Overwatch doesn't get as toxic is because while it does have a competitive mode, and it can get pretty competitive, for the most part, the actual gameplay itself, it kind of has the way the coloring and the everything works, it does feel a bit more like lighthearted. It keeps people from getting too serious in it or something. I don't know. It's weird. But let's go ahead and start getting wrapped up here as I'm rambling on. Final thoughts. Xaiphen, final thoughts on things and stuff.
I don't have any specific final thoughts. I'm just going to try and keep doing what I'm doing. I'll do another plug for my streaming, which is rather inconsistent at this point. I'm trying to set up, get some consistency going on that, but so far I'm not able to keep up with myself on that.
So no jokes about the pirate-based alternate reality games, the ARG.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, obviously, just to continue on that plug, we do have a link to Xaiphen's Twitch channel in the little
I also have
description.
I also stream on YouTube simultaneously. So that's up there too. Just look up my name.
Yep.
The Xaiphen still there.
Everywhere. Kev, final thoughts.
Waiting for Titanfall. All of the gameplay I've seen has been glorious. All of the gameplay they're showing off now is on PC. So
Sorry. Oh, you were saying that like it was good.
I love Titanfall. I love the original Titanfall.
It's not gonna. I've heard nobody say that. Wow, this looks like the original, only better.
No, it does play very much so differently than the original.
It's much more.
They're putting a lot more emphasis. The problem I think with the original is there were two sets of mindsets. People who wanted you to play more as a pilot. People wanted the pilot versus pilot mode and didn't want to play against bots. People who, like me, I liked the bots there with the characters, or with the players, because it made the map feel more alive.
Yeah,
but
I
then
agree.
But then there were people like, oh, I only want to kill other players. People who didn't like having the Titans around, and they tried to please everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the beta that came out, and I didn't like the beta at first, but the more I'm watching the gameplay and I see the changes they made, I really like what I'm seeing now.
Yeah. Well,
and it looks like it's going to run really well on PC from everything I've seen with the game. Because you've been seeing like a lot of matches.
Hey,
they're just full matches on YouTube now.
That's cool.
So yeah, so it looks like it's going to be glorious. It looks like it. It looks like I'm probably going to be picking this up. We're still going to wait for a couple reviews, wait for a couple live streams.
Yeah, don't pre-order.
Oh no, I've learned. I told you I learned from Master Chief Collection.
Yep.
So yeah, so I technically did pre-order Battlefield 1, but I tried it on Origin Access first. Put the $5 down, it played well, and then I bought it.
You guys heard it here. Kev admitted he pre-ordered a game.
Yeah. But I still got to try it first, and I played the beta. So it worked.
Good times.
So
unlike Morty, I don't do the whole Morty thing. Morty will wait like 2-3 months and then get a game. I don't necessarily do that.
Or there's me, I'll wait 2 or 3 years and still not get the game.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I
haven't put like 3,000 hours into grind frame.
Well, okay, what was it? Earlier this year, or maybe even late last year, there was a Crisis, extreme sale pack on Crisis games. So, I don't even know if there's a launch of the new Crisis game or whatever it was. At any rate, I like earlier this year, I was playing the first Crisis game. That's what, a 10-year-old game.
I haven't beaten any of the Crisis. I played a little bit of Crisis 1.
It's a great engine. It's a good game. I like the story. It like the story effects behind it were reminiscent of Halo when I was going through it.
Yeah,
the original Halo.
But yeah, also side note on Kev's final thoughts. Obviously, we also have links to all of Kev's stuff in the description down below as well. Although if you follow him on Twitter, I would recommend that every time you tweet something at him, make sure you end every sentence with #casual4life. Okay, that's CASUL 4, the number 4, life, and make sure you spell life LYFE, just so he knows how awesome you are. That you don't even
peasantry of the highest quality.
Oh, jeez.
And yeah, sure.
I can't help that Morty still plays Dragon Age Inquisition. I mean, there's only like 40 other people playing it right now.
Yeah, right. And you know what? I still have that certain amount of fun with it. There's still annoyances that I have, like the fact that the fucking difficulty slider is worthless because there are certain factions that you go against that are legitimately a harder difficulty than other ones. The 3 base guys are all pretty much on par. If you're playing it on threatening, it's threatening. Perilous, it's perilous, blah, blah. You get a consistent experience. The Darkspawn faction is like a half a step above the difficulty of all the other factions. And then the Qunari is another half step above. So pretty much, if you play Qunari on threatening, it's like the base factions on perilous. Like, that, it's just so obnoxiously inconsistent. And guess what faction I get the most when I play? But
Good
yeah,
alright.
so yeah, I still play that game. I also still play Mass Effect 3. It's
Well,
an
Mass
old
Effect
game.
3 was actually it's actually still a good game. Like I said when we last played it, I'm just burnt out on it because we've been playing it for 5 years.
That's why currently, because I stepped away from it for so long, and coming back to it now, I kind of have the view now, and that's why I play Overwatch a few times a week and Mass Effect a couple times a week, Warframe. All of these games I spread them thin, so I'm not repeatedly playing them too much because otherwise I'll
Right.
get burnt.
Right. That's what I was talking about kind of in that video that I made. The Battlefield 1 one. It's
Yep.
kind of the same thing.
And I
Spread it
was
out, play more games.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking to you about on there is that like I have my core set of games, but I and I play them a lot. I focus on them a lot, and obviously that's kind of one of the things that previously our channels differed on was
Hmm.
that I kind of honed in on specific games like Dragon Age and Warframe. But whereas as you kind of like you were like, hey,
I played it. I played a
is
little bit of everything.
it's a game, and I love playing all the games. I'm gonna beat this game, and here's what my thoughts are on it. And you would beat a game
Hmm.
and move on like in a couple of days. And
Yeah. Well, I'd beat a game in a couple weeks, like a week or two,
yeah,
and then move on.
but that's like that's a difference in mentality that we had that I kind of
Right.
think you're like, I can't play all the games anymore.
Right. Well, I no, I think it comes from being mostly a lifelong single player gamer too.
Yeah,
I didn't get into multiplayer because I refused to pay for Xbox Live until Mass Effect 3. When Mass Effect 3 multiplayer came, I'm like, I really want to play this fucking I'm gonna pay for Xbox Live. People don't realize that they say I'm an elitist because I won't pay for it. I didn't want to pay for it before I got my PC.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's when I did that, and that's when I kind of started paying for it, started messing with it. Um, and now it's like, I don't play. Now I really like multiplayer games too, and I can't play all these multiplayer games I want to play and play the single player game.
Well, the and kind of I'll roll this into my final thought, so we're not rambling off too far off the deep
Ramble.
end. But I think a lot of it is that I had to carefully I have to carefully pick and choose because I have a really hectic schedule outside of streaming, so I have to kind of carefully pick and choose what game I choose to focus on that day, and I want something that simultaneously is going to be fun for me to play and fun for people to watch, and that's where there's a lot of people on my channel that like want to see that Dragon Age, and I still have fun playing it. So that's where like of these streams I like actually did over the past week, the Dragon Age one has the most views.
Yeah, like
Because
when I look at your channel, most of your views still come from Dragon Age, and I think you're gonna get a lot of
Yep.
views when Andromeda comes out.
oh yeah, and
Because you're
that's
gonna carry over that BioWare fan base.
yep
Yeah,
exactly, and
hopefully
that's
I will be with you guys when Andromeda comes out. That's my goal.
you will be. Um,
Yeah, we'll get you up to par.
that that
We'll get you up there.
Yeah, like I said, one way or
But,
another, you'll be on
well,
Andromeda.
by that point, we'll probably be doing try streams. Maybe get a fourth one, do quad streams.
Yeah, let's just carry this thing on here. So take this Pixel Crashers methodology, right, that we have here with the four cams, but instead of four cams, four gameplay streams simultaneously.
Well, you could already do that on Twitch with multi-streaming.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Like I know, where you could have like four streams going in the same stream at once. I remember when I was part of We Game Here, we did that. We did it with Battlefield,
I kind of
where
like
you'd
that.
have like 5, 6 of us each on a different screen.
Yep. I like that, like a four player split screen experience, and you can see how bad Kevin actually is failing at the games he's playing when he's trying to claim that he's somehow better.
Peasantry.
All
Actually, it
right.
was funny. I put out a video a while ago how why my KD is trash and Battlefield 4.
And
It was mostly me trying to see 4 tanks.
But yeah. Any case, so final plug-in on there. Obviously, links to a whole bunch of other stuff are also in the description down below. To the Pixel Crashers Media, our Twitter and our Discord server. Definitely check those out. So first of all, the the Pixel Crashers Twitter page is where you get notifications when the stream starts and that sort of thing, so you know where we'll be. And if there's any cancellations, Kev or I usually post it up on there. And the Discord chat is where you can actually chat with us throughout the week, and whenever we play games and stuff, you can join us and have fun with that. And then obviously links for all of my good old stuff on there. And we'll go ahead and get signed off here this week. But you can catch us next week, again, Saturday morning, bright and early, 9 a.m. So we'll go ahead and sign off here this week and catch you guys next week on the Pixel Crashers podcast.